Evening. I've got the wrong bleeding camera. I don't know what I'm doing. Just play little TV themes all night. Well, that's probably not a bad idea. I'm really opposed to doing tonight is talking about Sheffield Wednesday. How do I do this now? I'm going to have to use this shit one, aren't I? Mind you, Andy for comments. You can see me big bulbous microphone. But what have we got in here? You're engine from Belfast. What's happening with Wednesday? Nothing. I'm looking at it like this. If this process has been done properly, I said I wasn't going to talk about Wednesday. If this process has been done properly, then we're not going to know. They're not going to let away. Anyone who's genuinely serious about buying this football club, he's not going to be doing the business by messaging random people on Facebook or putting things out on Twitter and fake bank statements and whatever else. Anyone who's genuinely serious, we won't know about it. That's a fact. Yes, Paul Cook got it correct. Can you hear me all right? Paul Cook got it correct. Tonight's theme tune, Juliet Bravo. It's quite haunting, actually, isn't it? It's a bit more haunting than I remember that one. You're just going to have to bear with me while I'm trying to sort out this. Bleeding hell. Is that better? Or will we be better off with old one? You'll have to let me know. Evening, Paul. Have you got some ale in tonight? What we're supping? Right, the serious business. Stephen DJ Risk E White. That's a moniker, isn't it? Best sandwich so far has got to have bacon on it. It's got to have sausage on it, and it's got to have egg on it. And cheese. A best with cheese. I'll tell you something, actually. Our lass is true this. She has cheese on a fry-up. She do full fry-up, sausage, bacon, egg, tomato, baked beans, black pudding, and then like a lump of Wensleydale on it. I don't know what that's all about. Big thanks to my mate Jake as well, who you'll know as Punk Chef 41, who did point out to me that, Jim, instead of squinting at the screen all night like that, you can actually bring comments up onto the screen, and he's showed me how to do that. So big thanks to Jake for that. First camera's good, second one more traditional. Yes, cheers, Sam. Weirdest taste habit, Rich here. What have we got? Love vinegar on mashed potato. Vinegar on anything, to be honest. Mate. Paul Cook, I'm a veggie, so my favourite sandwich is cheese savoury. Controversial. I think cheese sandwiches should be banned, and there's a very good reason for that. Too claggy. You've got to put too much stuff on them to make them bearable. I've been waterboarded eating a cheese sandwich. So you've got to have piccalilli on it, proper piccalilli, like Cunningham, something like that, or loads of pickle or chopped up pickled onions, you know what I mean, something like that, or maybe an egg, loads of sauce on it. When you have to make that much effort to make it palatable, get it in bin. Paul Faruga, still in your John Smiths. Sadly, I live in Ethics, so that's all there is. Ethics, so that's all there is. Occasionally get a tell. Do you know, I don't mind a tellies. I once sucked tellies when I was young because they were very. I'm just taking all my bangles off so they're not clanging. I didn't have tellies because it were from Leeds. I were very much Stones, Wards, and I wouldn't have that Leeds mucking house. And you know, as I get older, I'm like, especially with all these new beers, you know, sour beer. But years back, you went to Bills. If you got a beer that tasted sour, you went, "Nah, then pal, that's off." Do you know what I mean? Change your barrels, dirty get. Clean your pipes out. Anyway, yeah. But Tetley's, I like Tetley's now. It's a decent session. Decent session. You can't go wrong, I always say. But them Victorian ales, hundreds of years of crafting tradition. I don't really need breweries that pop up who say, we can learn a lot from these American kids making sour beer in the garage. I'm not a fan of any of that game. Tam, sticking up a little bit here for cheese. Ploughman's is great. Ploughman's isn't bad, but essentially, again, you're having to put loads of other stuff in it to make it palatable. And if you're doing it right, wash it down with half a gallon of scrumpy. And that tells you everything about the clagginess of cheese sandwiches. Let's have a look what else we got. 1-for-1 away with George, scored 2 for Moses against Fickley Town. Oh, is that a result? I've been honestly trying not to pay any attention to Wednesday. Like I said, when it comes to all this takeover business, I'm not resting until Alex Miller does a full story and there's a photograph, hopefully taken by Steve Ellis with somebody with a scarf. I mean, honestly, I keep going back to anybody can make up out. I can fake a bank statement to say I'm minted. Let's get back to the important things. P Wednesday, dripping cake, rare fine delicacy. A bit of gravy on it. Brown dripping over white dripping, soft bread cake. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I love a dripping sandwich. I'm not meant to have them, obviously, with me being my condition, fat bastard. But yeah, years ago, true story, my grandfather, when he was alive, he was involved in a plant accident. A digger ran away down an old broke all his ribs, and he were in infirmary. Or it Royal, anyway. Old school nursing. Matrons put him on dripping sandwiches to build him back up. Now that's what I call medical care. Not like now, when you get at GP, you tell them things and then they're messing about and you look around at the screen and they're on fucking Google. I could do that myself. Let's get through some of these comments. Paul Faruga, love Wards, but the footy team Sunday morning didn't like the aftermath. No, it did stink. When I lived at my mum and dad's when I was a kid, we lived up road from Wards Brewery. And on a Sunday, I don't know if it's because traffic was quiet and there wasn't as much pollution, but anyway, maybe it was part of timetable at mashing or whatever they're doing, but Sunday morning, the stench, the hops wafting, unbelievable. What else we got? Paul Cook used to drink Tetley's a lot back in the day, Barfly in the West End, and I still call it the West End, unless you're on about the London West End. I'm on about the West End, Glossop Road there. It's called something else now, isn't it? But I still call it West End. Avanti GP from Christchurch, New Zealand. New Zealand, I only think about a couple of things. A, Lord of the Rings, and B, motorcycle Hells Angels gangs, because when I'm on me, do you know them YouTube short reels? You're on your dinner and you just start flicking, you think I shouldn't be doing this, but you do, and they pop up quite a lot. Bit of salt on a dripping cake, absolutely 100% correct, Bert. Don't mind a nice IPA, some good ones about, like Brewdog. Yeah, no. I can't. Remember years about IPA, you used to get Flowers IPA. Does anybody remember that, Flowers IPA? And that'd be nice, a nice light ale for summer. I might have one of them occasionally, but my favourite beers going back, still, Woodworth 6X, one of the best beers of all time. Bateman's Triple X, and probably my favourite beer of all time, Bateman's Triple XB. And again, classic breweries who've been making ale for hundreds of years. Not a kid with a top knot and too much vinegar and lemon on his hands. Really, mate, we're coming for the brewery. Went badly, other than the 10 bob bits. The first medicine is dripping cake. Dripping cake, and remember Lucozade? When it used to come with that sort of cellophane wrapping around it and it got that bobbly edge. Got like a ribbed neck, hasn't it? Let's not talk about ribbed necks. What else we got here? I said we weren't going to talk about Wednesday if we could help it. Woodsbury used to have pipeline to the pub across the road, which was the Devonshire Arms. Double Diamond, get out. Evening Jazz, Paul Faruga, joins my special club, Bateman's Unbelievable Beer. Unbelievable beer. But the Wadworth 6X, I love that. There were probably 2 summers when I was about 18, that's all subbed. We got it on as a guest ale in our local boozer, and everybody loved it that much, we just kept it as a standard. Now, I'm going to show you, I'm going to try and get something now. Show you a pub. Bear with me. Went on holiday when I was a younger man with my mum and dad. Just going to try and save this image. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to try and get them up now. Carling Premier. I could sup it, but it weren't me. It weren't my favourite, if I'm honest with you. Right, let me find this now. Image file. Ah, that's it. 2. There's 1. Now. Wrong one. Get rid of that. I'm having a bloody nightmare here. There. Now, how do I get that bigger? Look at that. Look at that. So I went on holiday with mum and dad when I was a kid. And on the way home, my dad said, I want to stop in this pub. It's a place called Norton St. Philip. And we went in here. It was a lovely hot summer day. And we had a pint of Wadworth 6X, and it was absolutely unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. I've got another picture I'm going to try and show you. This was Boozer, but when you went through back at Boozer, let me find this other file. Sorry, I'm messing you about here, but this was view when you went out at back door. Absolute picture of England. Walked out, cricket on green there, church bells ringing in background. Absolutely unbelievable. Sat there, Wadworth 6X. I mean, what is not to love? What is not to love about that? Picture of England. Marvellous. Absolutely marvellous. Now, let's get back to your comments. Let's try and get through here. I'm a simple man. I'll take a smoother of stones. Do you know, I drink more lager as I get older because beer has started giving me a terrible headache. So I've started supping more lager. Doesn't seem as bad an headache. I do love a Guinness. I don't like smooth flow ale. Just cold, and you can't really taste it. But yeah, I love the Stones, ample Stones. Don't get it many places now, do you? The one at best I've had was in Rose at Walkley. Nice part of Stones here. And back in the day, I was supping in Leicester. Let's get through comments. Although I do like some strange beers, but just the odd one. Yeah, I mean, I'll try them. There was a stage with about 20, I'd try any guest beer, but some of them, even back at that stage, you were like, this is just homebrew. Do you know what I mean? Emperor's New Clones or whatever. I grew up in pubs that says all you need to know. Much of a shorts drinker? No, but what I used to do, which is it's daft now looking back, but if I were getting a big round in Boozer, and by big round out of a 2, it's a big round for me, I'd always order a brandy first, a double brandy, and then I'd have my double brandy while they were pouring restaurant pints, which you look back and that's that extra needless booze in it, but you do. Darren Wood, remember him, lives in my village? I do remember Darren Wood. He was a bit of a utility all-rounder. Did we get him from Chelsea or did he go to Chelsea? I think he had a lot of injuries, didn't he? Very partial to a big block of cheese, packet of salt and finger crisps. Not wrong with cheese, don't get me wrong. I'm a bit of a fiend for cheese. It just don't belong between two slices of bread. When I make a brew at night, I'll click kettle on, lean on kitchen side, and I think it's only going to take a minute to boil kettle in it. But then, I'm like clock watching, wander over to the fridge, big lump of cheese, knife, and I'll just make slices until kettle's boiled, that's where them extra needless calories come from, innit? You know what I mean? Got a lot of comments here. Where am I? Sorry, everybody. Plowing through. Try not to miss any. What you all been up to anyway? I mean, it's been really hot on it. I've been working today. I've been working. It was one of them that last week, do you fancy working Saturday? And I went, yeah, I'll do that sound. And then when you're driving pissed, no. When you're driving past boozers and folks are sat outside in beer garden, enjoying the sun, having a jar, and you're driving in, and then you're sat at work sweating, your clackers swimming about in your cheap nylon work trousers. Oh, God, I'm betting it one of them. I'm like, why did I volunteer for this? Worthington's, again, never a fan. Basically, with me, anything in one of them taps that you flick down and it does your part, I don't like beer out of them. Can have lager out of them, but I don't like beer out of them. My gaffer used to drink tons of Worthingtons back in the day. In fact, tell a quick story about my gaffer. He had a stroke one year, and he was told, stay off ale. And about a week later, I saw him in booze, and I went, what are you doing? You're not going to be on ale. He went, not going to be on ale. I'm on lager. I like ciders, says P. Wednesday. I do. Love cider. Westerns, probably my favourite cider. Don't mind an Aspels. The cheaper ones, they give me terrible heartburn. In fact, a lot of them give me heartburn, especially as I get older. I mean, a bit 2 years ago, maybe. Me and some old mates have gone out. We've gone around Dronfield for a couple of pints, and we stood outside, boozy, having a fag and this oven, and then and this youth walks past, and he thinks we're having drugs. He's like, oh, what's that? Can I get some? How much? And he's like, got a five. And my mate went, it's fucking Gaviscon, son. We're all old and fucked. Let's get some more comments. Guinness is the most overrated drink in the world. It comes around in fashions, in cycles, Guinness, but I've always enjoyed a Guinness. Yeah, I like a Guinness. Funnily enough, I prefer a Guinness on a hot day. Carol Part of Caffrey's, another one my old gaffer used to love, Caffrey's. Again, I could never quite get on with that. Ever have Smith's Magnet? Yes, in the old days when they used to have Rock Night on Friday, City Hall Ballroom downstairs, that one Magnet in there, that was Ward's own Magnet. Blackcurrant and soda water. Yeah, well, these days I'm probably better off with that because I'm on Diabetic line. Actually, I veered into line, but I've been quite good since I've stopped sugar in my tea and I've stayed off spice because I'm one of them, I always used to have spice in the car, I'd open glove books, like to look for something to clear windscreen. I'd be like, oh, bonbons. Darren Wood did come from Chelsea. I thought he did. Super producer. Great Boozer, Lesker. Usually bang opposite. When I used to finish work on a Friday night, Dougstead, I used to drop everyone else home because that's the problem when you're driving in it. So I used to come off motorway 2 junctions past where I actually wanted to come off because I had to drop everybody else off first. So I'm dropping them on all boozers and trying to race back to get last couple of pints in Friday night at Lesker. Just bump my van up onto my parking on front and go down and get it Saturday morning. Although that's a garden now, isn't it? Possible scripts, £5. Thank you very much. I will. That's great. I will treat myself to a lager. In fact, I might go to a Wetherspoons and treat myself to 2. That's fantastic. Thank you, mate. Greatly appreciated. Call me a twat when I'm sitting garden with a glass of Merlot. Not wrong with that. I went to when I first went out with our lass, she took me to a mate's house. A mate were having a barbecue, but it was a mate's mum and dad's. And I tipped up and I was a bit, you know. And her mum came round and she went, would you like a wine, white or red? And I said, pint, please. And she thought I was a scrubber from then on. Beck's when it first arrived on tap, was ace. Do you know? Beck's on tap. I'm not sure if I've ever had that. I tell you what, I don't like Budweiser. I don't like what they do as a brewery when they tried to actually register the name and get Budweiser, Budvar in Germany to relinquish the name. Wankers. But anyway, I didn't mind a part of that on draft, actually, the Audible American one. But on a hot day, I could sup it. 10 p.m. pint, Monday night, Kiki's. Oh, Kiki's. I used to go there for a rock night as well. Get upset. What a hole. A strong coffee and a quality set of toffee. Great combo. You see, you've mentioned football there, P. You've mentioned football. You've gone and ruined it all. We're all having a nice time talking about ale, talking about sandwiches. I do like a beef sandwich, a beef and horseradish sandwich. The simple things. I've been playing an update of a retro game today. Utter nostalgia. The Fighter remade. I don't remember that one. I have actually, though, been playing recently, much to my missus's upset, Championship Manager 93. And it's great because I know what players already. I know what I'm going to get, and I know what promising youngsters are. So I can go to Blackpool and nick Trevor Sinclair for 10 grand. And although some of the players on there, some of it don't make sense. I mean, for some reason, Jamie Oyland's better than Gascoigne. I mean, how do you work that out? Anyway. Alston Pills all night before they brewed it in England. Alston Pills, do you remember when Premier League first started and Gary Lineker said, you know, Carling Premier League, I'm not sure we should have ale, you know, and this. And I thought, hang on, you've been running around with Alston Pills in front of your Spurs shirt for the last 3 years. Where do I? All the sugar turned to alcohol. So, exactly, that's what I was on about before they distracted me. Said that's why I've had to cut back on ale because of this diabetes thing. Because they were like, "We'll give you these tablets." I said, "I don't want these tablets. My mate's on these tablets." And then he said, "I have another tablet so his feet don't swell." I said, "I don't want any of that, game." I said, "What can I do?" And she went, "Yes, cut out all the sugar and modify your diet, and we'll see how you go with that." And so far, touch wood, I've been all right. Bit of a fell off wagon a bit around Christmas, but you do, don't you? Are you a fan of Newcastle Brown? A bottle of dog. Didn't used to mind that back in it. In fact, we used to drink Newcastle Brown when we went to town because ale in town used to be shit. I mean, I'm sure it's much better now. I don't really go to town. But yeah, bottle of Newcastle Brown in Wapentake. Just so you know, I'm 74, born and raised in Darnell. Been in Essex for 20 years. Well, that's where all Cockneys are now, and they've all been pushed out to Essex. That's Leon Knight, a bad memory from Chelsea. Frustrating Leon Knight because he got a bit of talent, hasn't he? But attitude. We talk about this all the time, don't we? Every season. Attitude. Niall Ranger, another one, attitude. Bothroyd. I mean, Bothroyd had an England cap. He was a good player, but fuck, you know. He's probably the most frustrating player I've ever seen in a Wednesday shirt. I mean, I've never booed any Wednesday player, but he were not far off making me break me up. I'm borderline diabetic, pre-diabetic myself. It's hard work. It is. It really is. I was terrified when they first told me overnight I didn't have any sugar. I'm still on porridge for breakfast now. Trying not to have best with black pudding and soft white bread cake. You know, I mean, I do have one now and again. You can't live like a rabbit, you know what I mean? Just had a nice cold cider. Can't eat too much cider due to acid reflux. This and IBS. Honestly, this is like an old man's fucking stomach problems website tonight, isn't it? Currently on FM, addicted since 2000. I know. I was really fit until, well, our Championship Manager, as it was then, came out. And I started getting pasty because I never saw sun. How do I feel about closure at Leadmill? Seen a lot of bands in there, been to a lot of nights in there. Well, it's just nature things, isn't it? I mean, I don't like to see change anyway. And more than one person said they might think I might have got something because of my real sort of push against any form of change. But it happens, and there's no what can do, is there? There's no what can do. There's so many places that shut down over years, and I mean, look at Market Tavern the other year. Now, Market Tavern won a great booze, I'm not saying that, and it was a rough hole. We all know what it were. But they're doing all that part of town up. Everything around it, some audible 60s and 70s concrete monstrosities, they've all got pulled down. Market Tavern was still standing. They're on about, renovating Parrot Castle and doing all that up and having a nice bridge in it. And Market Tavern will hold this place down there. Now, when you can have a shit old boozer, but if you're regenerating an area, it is possible to regenerate that boozer in that area and make that nice as well. And then it mysteriously got knocked down. Oh, we didn't know. We weren't many who's wrecking ball. Don't talk to me about Sheffield City Council. Evening, Sharman. Nice of you to come along. Are you in Somerset? I'm wondering if that boozer that I went on about earlier was in Somerset. Where is Norton St Philip? Where is it? I don't know. I'm starting to wonder now. There. The George Inn, Norton St Philip. Is that Somerset? I don't know. Let's get back to it then. Sensible soccer on the Amiga. What a game. Except every shot had to be a curl, didn't it? That curl every shot. It's the only way you could score. Down wing, cut inside. Wrong-footed wingers. There's hundreds of them now. We were doing that 30 years ago on Sensible Soccer because it's the only way you could score a goal. Your head's proper shiny. It is, isn't it? I might have to turn big light off. I'll tell you what it is. It's sun cream because you can't take the chance. You cannot take the chance. Let's have a look. I used to drink Nuki Brown in the WAP when it was out. The glue on the label would stick the bottle to your hand. Another type 2 diabetes as well. We're all there, aren't we? We're all there. WAP and take. It's gospel. Once when it WAP and take, went for the pit, and I had a few. I was only young. And I went in and I had a slash. And then I looked. And I looked at the urinal. And there was a missile. And I don't mean a big turd, by the way. There was a missile in pan leant against a cubicle wall like a rocket. I've never been able to explain that since. But genuine that. Burt Crispy. I had some lag with cola in it when I was in Germany. I'm ashamed to admit it, but it was nice. I'm not one for mixing drinks, but poor man's Black Velvet, cider and Guinness. I don't mind a few of them. Although I once had one at White Lion, and they got no Strongbow, so I had it with some scrumpet, and I lost about 3 days. I've got no idea what happened with that. Show us your gout. I have got a bit of gout in my ankle. This is where we are, isn't it? How did you hold back from booing Morgan Fox? Look, sir, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't think Morgan Fox was that bad. He weren't great. He weren't great, but I don't think he was terrible. And towards end, his contract was up. We were in the shit, and he was still trying. And there were one or two others who were far better technical players than him, whose contracts were also up, and they didn't give a fucking shit. They didn't try a leg. Some even feigned injury. Yeah. Best goal performance, Alan Kelly in the semi-final. Yeah, I'd go with that. He must have made 10 absolutely top quality saves that day. But I can also remember Kevin Pressman, White Hart Lane. Unbelievable performance. And Kevin Pressman would have played for England if he'd played for Spurs or Arsenal. And nobody will ever tell me different. Philip Pearson, loving your work, Jim. Phil, is that you? Are you my Phil Pearson, skipper? Loved Leadenhall. I took posh to the bouncers to get in. I got turned away from Leadenhall a number of times, and to be honest, I think it were face. I think it were just my face. Some people have got a slappable face. I got one of them faces that bouncers didn't like, Handsome. The worst Chelsea memory is Paul Cannavale and his hat-trick. Yeah. And I quite like that shirt they'd got over, that yellow shirt. I didn't mind that. Take the man out of Yorkshire. Take Yorkshire out of the man. Hold me up. Have you found, Paul, because I know I do it, and I know he shouldn't. And sometimes you do it subliminally, you don't know. But sometimes you notice you're doing it. You find you get more Yorkshire the further away from Yorkshire you go. I mean, Scousers are best at that, You never find a prouder Scouser than someone who lives 200 miles away from fucking Liverpool. Watched some Stone Roses, tripping mine not so long time ago. I'm not really into that sort of scene, me. Not tripping me nuts off, done a bit of that, but Stone Roses, I'm never really into that sort of indie Manchester thing. I was born, I think, probably 10 years too late for my musical tastes. Roughest boozer I've been in. I don't really go in rough boozers. I'm actually very posh, I went in a boozer which will remain nameless in Dronfield, though, about 15, 20 years ago. And I walked in, and it was that dark, you couldn't see him. I could just about make bar out. Honestly, it was pitch black. And I went over to the corner, and I'm sat down, and I'm waiting for a mate of mine. And this kid fell over to the table, and he sort of lurched into it. He put his hands down, and he's leant over me, and he went, "Wednesday or United?" And as he said it, a big bit of drool was dangling off it, and it fell down, and I just moved my hand, and I looked at it, I thought, there's going to be no right answer here, it's 50-50. So I said, "I don't really like football, mate, I'm more of a rugby league man." And he sort of went, and he fucked off. But that were quite scary, that. Yeah, Taunton lad, mate. Oh, a lot of decent scrumpies down there in Sharman. Cannon, yeah. What was that other one on? What was that big one on corner down there? Fucking Magic Roundabout. Big thing. Bit rough in there at times. Enjoying the other subjects chat tonight, despite my injections of football. I know you've got to, honestly, the thing with that Wednesday is, and I don't know if you're saying, I'm fatigued with it, and I'll tell you why, because seasons are meant to be seasons, aren't they? Beginning, end. You have all your emotions when you start off with a super positivity pre-season, and even if you've had a poor transfer window in summer, because you've had that break and you've been away from it, you think, I think we can do all right here. So all that optimism, then season starts, usually turns into a shit show, but one or two good results of way, season ends, and you need to put it to bed and have a nice breather and get your optimism back up for the following season. It's like last season it ended, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's like the 24-25 season. We may as well merge it with this one that's coming. It may as well be the 24-26 season, and all because we had a day off. Doom scrolling. Fucking he's been sold. Players haven't been paid. Manager don't want to stay. Chancery's been a knob. Don't want to sell. Does want to sell. Wants 300 million. Some spivs made up some fake account, and it's like fucking. It's tiring. It's really tiring. Let's get back into these comments. Somerset between Bath and Frome. Been to Bath once. Had to cut through Bath just to be able to pull over somewhere to change one at Youngen's nappies when they were a kid. Sensible soccer. Roberto Carlos like bend on every shit. It's the only way he could score a goal. Only way he could score a goal. UV damage, can't put sunscreen in your hair. I used to have hair, me. My kids don't think I do. got a photo out over there because I kept saying, I used to have a hair like that. No, you didn't. Stop being cringe. So I got a photo out. I went, that's me with hair. Photoshopped. I went, Photoshop, it's on paper. Don't want friends couldn't start sobbing because of sun cream. Forrest Gump. Another kid I work with. Bannon always plays wonderfully, especially before a new contract. Well, JJ's your finest example of that, isn't he? Chris Stringer against Wolves away. I forgot Chris Stringer actually existed, if I'm perfectly honest with you. Stephen Fletcher seems falling for by fan man said any 100% faked injury and tossed it off. I'd agree, 100%. 100%. And I saw him just after that in the Starbucks, and I was going to go over and went, nah, blatant, mate. But as I got closer to him, quite a big fucking unit. So I just had a bacon butty and a latte instead. Once we're in Dad's pub and some 26 and having a Guinness shandy. Took me about 15 minutes before. When I used to have Black Velvet, the mistake a lot of kids behind bar used to make is put Guinness in first and try and get cider on top. Like a foam party. Cider in first. One of them whisks that looks like a lollipop lady's stick. Lollipop person. Whisk it till bubbles are out. Then Guinness in. For simples. Big Gun. Never been in. Never went in. Never went in Big Gun. Oh, is it Jim? Listen to all night, pissed up. Just listening to YouTube. Well, cheers, Phil. I like getting pissed up and talking, but I can't get pissed now. Like I said, with diabetes and hangovers, and I knew it with you. Good man. Yeah. Lots of trouble down at your club and all this year. All the gym stopping allowance for dinner ladies. What a wanker. Cannon was quite tough. Well, when I visit Sheffield, we all know what I mean, because I slip into the proper Sheffield speak. You do, don't you? I got a mate once, he went to America, and he only went for about 6 months, and he come back with a twang. And I'm sure if you're surrounded with people who are American all day, and you've got no Yorkshire mates out there, that you probably do pick up a little bit. But at the time, we weren't as kind. You know, we all said, why are you talking like that, you fucking wanker? You know, like putting it on. Bit like, I always say that about Cockney accent. Cockney accent always sounds like it's put on to me. In my head can't comprehend that people are born and raised and talk like that. I always think, yeah, all right. Cider and cricket is what I was raised on. Have you been enjoying cricket today? I've managed to see a bit of that. I love Test cricket. It's my favourite form. It's my favourite format game. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. A bit worried when they got into bat at end. I thought we could have done without this, but they managed to see it out. Going to have, just want them to have a steady hour in the morning. You know what I mean? No daft. Just get in there and get a bit of Jeffrey for an hour. You know what I mean? Just no daft, not after it lasting. The Alex on the roundabout, that's right. Alexandria, yeah. It could be a bit tasty in there. Got out nice plan for some holes. We are going away, but I'll be honest with you, I'm dreading it. Because my fear of flying gets worse every year. I didn't fly for 20 years. We couldn't fucking afford to go away, to be honest with you. But didn't fly for 20 years. And then we went over here. I said, we're going to have to take kids abroad. It's not right. They've never experienced it. So and our final way to airport, up steps, onto the plane, no bother. Sat down in seat, buckled in, blah, blah, blah. You know what? Engines went up. I went, I've just remembered I fucking hate this. I'd completely, it skipped my mind because I've not been away that long. And then when you head back in seat, and I've got worse and worse. In fact, I'm thinking about getting some of them, and I mean really bad. I'm not scared of flying. I'm scared of somebody else flying plane. I don't trust folks. I'm worse passenger in work. I'm bad in a car. You imagine what I'm like when I'm up there. But I think somebody said you get these like jelly babies with weed oil in them or something. I thought I might try that because I'm honestly I'm shocking. You know, these finger marks in chair arm when I'm flying. I only watch cricket because Joe looked to Sheffield lad had ever said it. I just something relaxing about cricket. It takes you away to another world, and I enjoy it as much on radio. But I can't say that about football. If I'm watching a football match on telly, whatever, you can this or cricket, you can watch it and whatever. But the radio, it relaxes you. But when you listen to a football match on radio, different game. You're like that, because they make everything sound like it's nearly gone in. Then when you see highlights, you're like, fucking 10 foot wide, that you clown, making me shit myself. Let's get back in comments. Dad, a very nice man as well. As well as getting Neil Warnock promotion record. Dad Moore played for Neil Warnock at Torquay, didn't he? A font of useless. Penny Black in town, pretty rough. Been in Penny Black, not on a match day, I hasten to add, but yeah, been in there back in day. Anyone watching England ladies at the Euros? Nah. I haven't seen any of that because I've been watching all cricket. I did see highlights the other day. Terrific first goal, by the way. That would have fantastic finish by James, but the fourth goal, that Netherlands goalkeeper, which has got to be dropped for that. Doesn't dive till it's in there. It was unbelievable. Stonehouse, Marples, Pig and Whistle, Berlin. Now let's go through this list. Crazy Daisy, no. Berlin's, yes. Pig and Whistle, yes. Marples, no. Stonehouse, yes. Scott Carson Wolves away, not Stringer. I'm gonna say I can't remember ever seeing Stringer play. Ever. Scott Carson, another good goalkeeper though. Let's get into these. Imperative to support English girls. Actually, I did watch a bit of women's cricket for 10 minutes after. Reminds me of Steve McCladden's Dutch accent. Jesus Christ, that will live. There was that, and Joey Barton doing his Clouseau. What a fucking muppet. When the minutes go missing, I'm really pissed. Could do with blocking out this pre-season. It's like I said, it's never ending. It's never ending. Has Gassama been officially confirmed now? I know. I saw that picture of him in training top. Typically, somebody sent it me about a minute after I'd done my last video. I thought, no. There we go. So the companies, they know the score. Do you know? I worked in London for about 18 months, travelling down and doing, like a fortnight on or 10 days on whatever. And all the time we were down there, I probably met 3 companies. All the time we were in London. Favourite bit? Jake, you're late. You have to watch this on fucking Playback now. Wadworth 6X, Bateman's XXXB, and Bateman's XXX. I said that in right order. Yeah, I don't mind a badger. Can sup a pedigree. Don't mind a Tetley from having an all-day session. I used to have an all-day session in Banner. When I used to be on mornings, I used to finish at 12 on a Friday. Straight in Banner, all the way through. Good 10 hours at it. Well, looking back now, it's no wonder I've got problems, isn't it? Because of the least base now, but Greasy Vera's still going. Montmorency Street. No, I think Greasy Vera's long gone. I love the Test Cricket too. Series has been great. Like I say, tomorrow, I just want a steady hour from lads. Just a steady hour. Again, I've been in Mank for 40 years. People say I've got a Sheffield accent. Sheffielders think I'm native. You can't win. When I worked in London, everywhere I went, especially when you try to chat birds up. Oh, are you Australian? And other one, no, I'm from England. Oh, Manchester. Oh, no. Looks cheaper to go abroad than stop in country nowadays. Aye, it would be, except I was talking to a mate of mine at work, computer buffing, complete opposite of me. I told him I'd booked holiday this year, and I said, "Oh, much dearer than last year." And he said, "Oh, you didn't book it on the same device, did you?" I said, "Well, I last did it on a phone." He went, "Oh, schoolboy." He said, "Because they're all AI now." He said, "All travel companies use them and all. So if you've used same firm before, that'll put a mark on it. If you search for a similar place, that'll put markup on it." He said, "Use a different device every time you book an holiday." I said, "Fucking out, we're all right here. Everybody's on make." You'll be right once you're there. Worth taking them tablets that calm people down for flying. I know, yeah, I think I'm going to get some. I keep seeing on Twitter. What's his name? Big lad, ginger hair, played at net for Wednesday. Liverpool, Coventry, Wednesday. I think he got a couple of England caps. Bloody hell, why can't I think of his name? Anyway, I'd seen him mention him on Twitter for his anxiety and that. And I thought, if that works for flying, I'm going to give it a bash. So I think I'm going to try and get some of them. Malcolm Nani, Enn and Chickens and Cannon, horrific. There was a stirring star, it was probably about 5 years ago, it didn't make me laugh. Somebody had been nicking in Wilco's, 2 coppers chasing him up through Enn and Chickens. Somebody tripped first copper over, second copper fell over him, and then about 3 people jumped on, all gave him a bit of that, and did the over and out at booze. And nice. I'm blaming on all the bodies under the cop. The only time I've listened to it Wednesday on Radio Cambridge, there is football commentaries on radio, and they do a great job, and it must be hard because you're having to describe everything you see, but they don't have to make it. And John Pearson, God bless him, love John Pearson, but sometimes when he's he puts you on edge, doesn't he? Flying, but managed to get over it and visit some incredible places. How did you get over it, Paul? Because I'm getting worse and worse. And I'll tell you what don't help. Again, it's my mobile phone, because I'll be having my brew at dinner. I'll just watch some quick videos. Fucking aviation disasters. All shows. Aviation disasters. All of them. I mean, it's no use, is it? Old Chelsea Radio Cup match 80s. This game I've never been to. I suppose that's a good side of it. If you win a game and it's been on radio, it can make it more exciting than it is if it's been a dour game but a decent score. They can make it sound better. Sharman, commentators ruin most sports for me. The F1 guys are awful. Do you know, I've never got into F1. I watched it when I was a kid, and I know this sounds horrible. I only watched it hoping there might be a crash because I found that exciting. But I can't get into it. Plus, it goes on that long. I know it's got to give people a chance to get round each other and overtaking manoeuvres and this and that other, but it goes on and on. A mate of mine, when I was a kid, he were right into it. He used to do school time with his mum and dad, and he said it's absolutely deafening when you go there. Commentators, I don't like the screechy commentators, and I'm about to. Someone somewhere is going to sound the sexism klaxon, but I do struggle with some female ones. Not because of what they're saying, because some of them actually do describe the action better than some of the blokes, but it's the pitch. It's the tone of the voice. You've got it. I'm trying to think of the sort of perfect voice for a football commentator. Anthony Hopkins. John Hurt. That's the sort of voice I want doing football commentary. All this, I tell you, there's one at worse for screeching, and it's actually a bloke. It's that Jonathan Pierce. He does man up. Let's have a look. Carson against Wolves. Once a stringer played Stoke away. Lost through it in. I genuinely, I don't ever recall seeing Stringer play. I'll have to take your word for it that he did, because I just... Masaba has apparently gone, but Kasama not been signed off by DC yet. And of course, he has to sign him off because he's in charge of signing off everything, isn't he? Even you know, a new bottle of Tipex for whoever's working in office. Club put a post up on LinkedIn saying that Moose had gone to Turkey. How much have we got for him? I know he's a frustrating player, Masaba. And he's had an in and out season, had a lot of injuries. What's he played? 10, 12 games in total. But back in the season, he was cameoing again, and I thought, looks to be getting back on track. And again, he's a player that you can see going somewhere like that, having a good season, and then being back into the mainland Europe, if you like, in 18 months, 2 years, for about 5 million quid. That's where it's frustration, isn't it? Levi keeps the night chilled. The shit show at Wednesday at the minute. You just seem relaxed. You've got to be relaxed. You've got to be relaxed. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes when I'm watching a match, I'm absolutely apoplectic. You know, like when centre halves are trying to take ball down on chest. You know, when these two strikers running in on them, and it's like fucking end the bastard. You know, I do get. It's just everything else. I've had to learn. It's because at modern age, you're bombarded, aren't you? You're bombarded with news 24/7. You never get any time off. But you're also bombarded with shite. Half of it's made up. I mean, it's one of the things that makes me laugh. I'm not getting into any politics here, but just as an example is, the two people who think the BBC is corrupt and bent is right-wingers. Can't trust mainstream media. BBC, it's a left-wing machine, blah, blah, blah. Other people who hate BBC are left-wingers. Oh, it's run by right-wing Tory donors, blah, blah, blah. When it's only us in middle who go, well, I quite enjoy watching nature documentaries and Springwatch, you know. I'd pay my licence fee just for them, to be honest with you. Banner, Roger and Janet, correct. Roger with big drum out for England matches, absolutely fantastic. Upstairs room, which lads used to call my office. I did spend a lot of time in there. If we actually do get this bloke who's got 11 billion, there'll definitely be a party in Hillsborough Park. We'll just see what happens. I'm not holding my breath on any of it. Is it 3 confirmed bidders now? Two Americans? Was it 3 Americans, which show a lot? I don't know. Are they completely out of the equation now? I don't know. Like I said, I've not been paying that much attention because it's all bluster. It's all bluster until it's official. As soon as it's official, I'll be like, right, who's this bloke? And I'll start looking him up. Until then, no. Just gets you down because it gets you very excited. Fucking £11 billion, fucking get on, spend a gig. And then he doesn't turn up. Oh, look, you know, we've got that wanker instead. You know what I mean? It's all a far cry from when clubs are run by local butcher, baker and candlestick maker, isn't it? You know. Data centres in Yorkshire taking all the water. Enjoy the higher bills. My water bills, I don't think they've hardly changed, to be honest with you. Kirkland, correct. That's him, Chris Kirkland, Coventry, Liverpool, Wednesday. Did he have to spell at Wigan? Another good keeper, Kirkland, yeah. Very good. Mate of mine said if you support either Man City or Man United, you have to be born in Manchester. The way I see it, don't matter where you're born if you support Wednesday United Leeds. I don't hate United. I don't, honestly. I've had some nasty banter at work over years with one or two because there's always some extremists, aren't there? But as a rule, I don't really mind United. I don't really think about them, if I'm honest with you. I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just focusing on Wednesday. You know, the idea of me going, I'll just see what they're up to. You never. And I've got a Wednesday United supporting mate at work. We'll have a chat most mornings, and he might say, but after this other aimers go in or whatever, and I'm like, but that's it. I don't, you know. And I'll tell you what, and I mean this, certainly, you know, if boot would up with a foot, where we've been in recent weeks, I won't want United to go out of business because it's part of shared history. I mean, after all, there would be no United if we'd not decided to move from lane with cricket and that. You don't need to use a different device. That's just bobbins, just clear your catch and cookies. You see, you're talking technical now, Paul. Talking technical now. You would not believe how much water the new data centre uses. You're going to have to help me out. What data centre? Although I did read something a bit back. Are you on about these clouds? See, it's funny, isn't it? You say cloud, and you might, it's straight away, oh, cloud. No, but they're these huge hubs, aren't they, with all servers in. I read about one in America, and it's actually somewhere red hot. Is it in Texas or somewhere? It's 60 gallons of water a fortnight or something. 60,000 gallons a fortnight uses to keep it cool. Is that what you're on about? I was a long-distance lorry driver for 20 odd years, including abroad. I always had fun in a new town, finding my way around. Perfect job to be a serial killer, that. Truck driver. Back in the day, anyway. Cameras everywhere now. Not that I'm condoning becoming a serial killer, Paul. Not only use different devices, can clear cookies. Use a VPN and put yourself in a different place. He did mention that, this lad at work, actually. We get our family in Scotland to book for his money drops off a flight from Manchester. See, that's what I'm on about. Every fucker's on make, aren't they? Like, we're not being stretched enough with everything. Every fucker's on make. Cricket in the 1890s and bowlers, West Indies. Aram and Yunis. I was watching some playback the other day when they'd gone to lunch, and it was that Body Blow series, and somebody put a highlights package together of all them bowls. But brutal. Absolutely brutal. Football Radio commentaries invented the phrase back to square one. Fun fact. I'm just pleased somebody's invented something and it's not been credited to Shakespeare, Paul, because he seems to take credit for everything else. Anyone else when we ended at Man U record start of the season? 50,000. Lost. How'd you end Man United's run if we lost? And about that 5-4 game when they were European champions. Thunderbird, John's commentaries goal. Yes, what I love about John Pearson on commentaries, unashamedly just wants Wednesday to win. Call for every throw-in, every bounce, everything. I do love that. Coming back over Mascot tonight, massive owl flew past. A sign. Are you superstitious? I try not to be superstitious, but then you do have little rituals, don't you? At the same time, I used to have I still wear it now, actually. I used to have a grey top, and I've become convinced that zip had to be in exactly the right place. Justy, you can't come here saying that. I love John Elm. There's two reasons of that. One was his inability to say Wednesday, and he always had to call him Wednesday. And secondly, rasping drive. I've never heard another commentator describe a shot as a rasping drive. I love John Elm. And there was another bloke who's loved not Thomas. He'll come to me. He's still about now. He's cracking on the bloke, but I can't think who we were. Masaba's probably gone for 10 pence and a bag of chewits. I remember Gassam's going to belcher against us. Yeah, he did, Jake. Let's have a look. Jonathan Pearce divides me. Yeah, I sometimes feel like Jonathan Pearce has done too much research, though. Do you know what I mean? Every fucking detail. This is his 7th game on spin. He did miss a game with an ankle injury, and he played 14 minutes against Wickham 4 months ago, and he did that come off him for a corner? That's all I cared about, Jonathan. Do you know what I mean? Dieter. I like them old ones. Brian Moore. You didn't get too much with Brian Moore. Didn't get too excitable, you know. Even that one now, you don't want to hear it. You know that Aguero one? Even that's starting to wind me up now. And I always get this feeling now that, and maybe it's something I'm imagining, but I always get this feeling now that commentators are waiting or hoping for their Kenneth Wolstenholme moment. They think it's all over. And sometimes, I'm sure they've got them pre-planned. I think they've got phrases written down and they're hoping and waiting and they can chuck it out at bag, you know. I'm quite mardy about it. Let's have a look. I still wish that video did the research about Wednesday being third division and why we don't bounce straight back up. Oh, but about the down, bounce, consolidate, up. It's like a spring in it. It's true though. You've got to get used to that level. I know when you go down a division, you're playing against shitter teams and smaller clubs. But I've always said this: having a big cop don't mean you're going to win a football match. Having a good team means you're going to win a football match. And different styles down there, especially back in the day. I think every club's trying to play it the same way now, aren't they? Whether it's conference, fourth division, all this centre halves taking goal kicks bit. You know what I mean? You look back in old days, players coming anywhere near 18-yard box, keepers going, fuck off, and twatting it, aren't they? And I still like a bit of that. In fact, speaking of goalkeepers twatting it, one of my favourite goals in recent years, that one when Westwood just smashed it down the pitch. Upper barrel John Terry out that way, and then Reach smashed it in. I love them. There were another one. Was it Birmingham? I can't remember. Home game. Again, Westwood just got it. Smashed it down pitch. One bounce. Upper. Half volley. Bang. Thank you very much. No wrong with a long ball now and again. Not wrong. Let's have a butchers. Agreed, Paul. Let me go back. What were that? John, is that the Jonathan Pierce thing? 3 bids, Texter, Nefertiti, and some mafia guy with a pie addiction. I have seen a picture of him. He does look quite a big unit. Not as big a unit as that lad at Forest, because I'll be amazed if they let him on a charter flight. He is big. I like what we said on Wednesday week about annual ownership and the idea of investing in infrastructure while they can't spend on players. I agree fully with that, Doug, and I'll tell you something else. That should be the first thing anyone thinks about when they look to buying a club. And the first thing, especially for a championship club, is getting around this academy status where folks can just come in and rob your players. It was a complete con by Premier League. And they did it in such a way that they were forcing the EFL to sign it off and agree to it. And the inference was very much sign it and EFL going, but that don't really benefit our clubs because they're going to bring players on and then they're just going to get robbed for fuck all. But, you know, they can't afford, you know, the status of these top categories and the criteria that you need. So, and then Premier League went, well, you can sign that or you can have a bit less fucking money. How does that suit you? EFL went, yeah, we'll sign that. Fucking Premier League. Bent. Absolute cartel. I think you called it first then. Well, we don't go straight back up 2 seasons and change your manager. The number of teams will just automatically sack a manager when they go down. And right, we need a complete rebuild. But sometimes you've gone down with bad fortune. I mean, if you look at... That's the one thing with Chansiri. I did wonder if he might sack Darren Moore when we got relegated. But I think maybe even in the back of his warped mind, he realised that relegation was on him and the points deduction he got us. But sometimes you do go down by a little bit of bad luck or a series of freak results. I look at that Ron Atkinson team that went down. That best years of my footballing life, the football that we played in them years, and that team got relegated. But just a series of bad results at end. These days, though, would Ron be getting sacked for that? You know, it's... Everything's so trigger happy these days, isn't it? $65 next week, and I've got to say, it's the worst pre-season I've ever known. It is, isn't it? Because it's, as I said, it's never ending from the last one. Never ending from the last one. Too pissed up to do what else. Well, I'm glad you're not a serial killer, Paul. It's always nice to know that we ain't got them in the fan base. Kasama kept us up. I'd probably agree with that. What annoys me again with Gasama, if he does go to Rangers, you can see him going up there, 2-team league, playing with some better players in a better squad, let's be honest with you. Having a couple of good years, can he get 15 goals a year for, 10, 15 goals a year for Rangers over 2 years? He'll be back somewhere else, whether it's France, England, Spain. You can see him going through, 5, 6, 7 million in the next 2 years, no danger. It's frustrating. Helm was a bit too Alan Partridge for me. He might have been, but do you know what? Just and maybe it's the years rolling by. I always think there's a sort of innocence to them commentaries. You listen to them now, sometimes you put old videos. There's a sort of innocence to it, just like there is in football in general in them days before it went mad. Players on 300 grand a week and all this. One player who you thought wasn't too hot until you saw him. Remember Batty bossing our good midfield when Blackmore in the Premier League? I like David Batty. Yeah, good player. Played I didn't think were very good till I saw him live. But it's not that I didn't think he was very good because I'd never seen him before, but I was pretty amazed by Michael Owen the first time he was at Hillsborough with that caught me off guard because he's not very big, not particularly strong, but okay, what a flyer. Very one-footed though, something that I always used to get slagged off for saying back in the day. John Elm, the best PE teacher you could get. Was John Elm a PE teacher before he was a commentator? I don't know. The reign of Martin Tyler was a long tyranny. I think it's like, I also think people get in a comfort zone, don't they? And then, never got their argument you need to live in a city to support a club. Lots of small towns with no football clubs. All level of football, a lot don't want to watch. I sort of get that. But just my personality, I know what I'm like. If I did come from a small town, I know I would just watch local club. I think that's just how I am. Part of it's laziness. It's nearest ground to you, I mean, I get it when there's family links, if you're, I don't know, say you live in Sheffield, but your family's from Newcastle, so your grandparents are all Geordie fans and your mum and dad, I can get that sort of thing, but if you're just from a smaller town, I'd get along and watch them, and I've watched a lot of smaller teams, actually, before I got kids and everything. Obviously, if Wednesday were away and I weren't going to watch Wednesday, I'd go and watch a local club, or go and watch Club or Alum or whatever. Even I got a mate who supported Blackpool back in the day, and sometimes Wednesday were away, he'd be like, "Oh, fancy Millmore, so I can watch Blackpool." I'm like, "Yeah, sound, yeah," or Central Bank or whatever. But yeah, I think I can't imagine I'd just support one of the bigger teams if I lived it, or was born anywhere else. Have you seen the video about Nuyu on YouTube? Forgot about him. I'll never forget about Big Dave. I know he divided opinion. I really liked him. He was a bit stiff, that's the only thing. But any one of our top post-war goal scorers, people still slag him off. His record's there to be counted. But I always think if Nuyu were a bit more flexible, not flexible, that's not the word, bendy. Maybe if he'd done Pilates and yoga, I think he could have stuck another 40 goals in him. I really do. And they're all trying to out-Partridge him. I was talking to a mate of mine when I went for the pint about 3 months back, and he said the problem is now it's got to the stage where Richard Madeley is so Partridge that Steve Coogan can't outdo him. That's where we are. Done a bit of commentary bit that's forever stuck in my head is the absolutely world class of Marcus Tudgate. I think my favourite bit commentary is was it Alan Parry? Was that his name, that commentator I liked? Was it Alan Parry? Didwell Wilson. Palmer Didwell Wilson. That's the one that always stands in my mind. Steve, off the football topic, as we should be, correct. What's your pie of choice? Gonna have to get this a bit of thought, because as you could probably tell, I love pie. I love a steak pie. I love a Scotch pie. I love a Scotch pie. My dad orders them now and again from Scotland, from this champion butcher, and he puts me an order in. He hasn't done one for a while, actually. I've had a word with him. I love a proper Scotch pie with a salty pastry. I love them. But I do like a steak pie. I like a chicken and leek pie. If I'm honest, I just love all pie. When I worked away, my gaffer's missus used to make corned beef pies that looked like something Desperate Dan would eat, and they were amazing. Absolutely, just thick with corned beef and gravy and onions. Unbelievable, unbelievable pies. And of course, I do like pudding pies as well. Apple pie. I had a rhubarb and ginger pie, a bit back, unbelievable. With custard, obviously. Savouries with gravy, sweet with custard. I do love pie. I like a cherry pie as well. Lattice. I like the lattice work on top and nicely glazed. I'm fucking starving. I could murder a pie now. Pie and chips, peas or mash, gravy. I love pies. Absolutely love pies. Don't know who it was. Let's go back. That's in reply to, was it Paul Walker who said that on the bird? Oh, Paul Walker when he was at Radio Sheffield. I used to love Mel Sterling on Radio Sheffield when he used to do it with Seth Bennett. They've got to be busting her guts, Seth. Love Mel. That close to buying Sheffield FC. Steak and kidney, mushy pea, endo. Paul, gonna have to stop you there. We don't have any endos on this channel. It's Henderson's with no H, or it's Relish. This is one of my bugbears. I'm convinced, nobody said endos 15 years ago. Convinced. It's a marketing thing. I'm absolutely convinced of it. But now what a kid passes Henderson's. Want some Henderson's? Yeah, gets Relish. That it would either Henderson's or Relish. And suddenly, and then I'm talking to mates. Passes Endo's, Jim, and I say, "You've never said that before." I have. I've always said that. No, you fucking haven't. And it's become collective. It's like brainwashing. And I'm convinced now that because this campaign's been that successful, that people are misremembered in their own youth. I think I've always said it, Jim. You haven't. You haven't. It's con, the advertising men. Don't let them win. Don't let them rewrite your history. Not that I'm mad about it. I don't like that. John Terry liked Darren Moore for his ability to find players for free, and that's about it. Nah. I have no idea that run team got relegated. Exactly. Great team, but sometimes you can just have a little bit of a bad run. And like I said, these days, there would be people going, "Oh, he's got to go. He's got to go. He's had the players." Let's have a look. I know we went absolutely, especially with Keith Edwards, wasn't it? Oh, Keith Edwards. John Elm has my undying respect for the Bradford Fire. That only popped up the other day on my feed, and I watched it again. I don't know why I watched it again, because I saw it about a year ago. Absolutely harrowing scenes. And you're right, Paul. He did a fantastic job because he twigged the situation quickly, and the brevity of it, and obviously he was live, weren't he? So he kept going. It's terrific professionalism there from John Elm. I'd forgot about that. Favourite darts player, Gary Anderson, love the man. And I'm going to say this. I've been to the arena and watched big darts. I didn't really enjoy it. Everyone around us were bladdered. Plastic pint pots. I hate plastic pots. You can probably guess. Not my bag. Don't like plastic pint pots. So there's that. Couldn't see how you'd eventually pay money to watch some on a telly because it's that far away. And they were all that good. And part of darts, to me, like most sports, is I like a little bit of failure. There's got to be a little bit of, oh God, how's he got through here? And to that end, I used to like watching BDO. There were a final one year. I think it was one of the last ones. And a kid got through to the final, and he was like a bit of a pub player. And he actually had a chance to win it. But his flights kept falling out. He'd got some knackered old darts, but they were his lucky darts he'd had for about 30 years. And obviously they were a bit loose on stem. He must have had 9 darts where flights fell out that probably cost him winning it after qualifying through pub rounds. Yeah, I quite like that old school BDO, sorry. Chicken and leek is your winner. I do like a chicken and leek. Corned beef pasties, bang it. Honestly, find somewhere on the internet one of them corned beef pie recipes in big Pardix dish with thick bloody crust on it. Find one of them somewhere because that is next level. Desert Island, you can only eat one food for the rest of your life. Pizza for me. Rich, you sound like my daughter, who I'm not kidding, would eat pizza for breakfast, dinner and tea every single day. And I don't mind a pizza now and again, but you know when I have it, about an hour later, I'm always feeling, oh God, it's done me that. It makes me tired eating pizza. Desert Island, one food. I do like pie. I really do like pie. But you know it might be something daft. A permanent supply of crunchy nut cornflakes on full milk. I reckon that'd probably do me. I'm quite a simple bloke at heart. Yeah, cereal. I rate like cereal, mate. I've got to be short crust pastry, can't do puffy stuff. Yeah, short crust. Well said, Gary. That's an excellent point. We're dealing with the serious issues here. Short crust pastry. 100% agree. That flake is. I'll tell you what's disappointing. I'm glad Gary's brought this up. You go for a pub meal, you order a pie. It comes, you look at it, you think, whoa, look at this bastard. You get fork in it, and it's that flaky pastry, and it all just collapses in. And you realise you've got about an inch of gravy at the bottom, hardly any meat in it, and it's all just aired underneath flake. That's why you need that short crust pastry and get it rammed with mate. Liver and onions. I can eat liver and onion now, but for years I couldn't have it because at school, liver and onions. Called in a lady over. I'm trying to eat this meat, but there's big tubes in it. Don't worry about that. Get it down here. What's them? I went out there. Tubes in this meat. That's liver. It's not tubes. There'll be arteries in it. No. Scotch pie, bit of HP brown sauce. Perfect. Great thing about Scotch pie. I mean, I love Scotch pie with gravy and mash. mustard mash. Get it mashed in. Teaspoon of mustard in mash. Salt, pepper, away we go. Bit of that cream cheese that our lads has for sandwiches. I always scoop some of that in, but don't tell anybody. Get that mashed up. Proper gravy. Great. But, as I say, the versatility of a Scotch pie. Cook a Scotch pie, put it in your pocket, take it with a pie on the go. Marvellous. Relax, it's Anderson's Relish. It is. I 100% agree. I don't care what it's called as long as it's on my pie. Actually, I have got a bottle my sister got me for my birthday. It's with Wednesday label on it, so that's quite good. Jimmy Allen. I was always brought up, they've been called Henderson's, and I was born and brought up in the Peterborough area. Exactly. Henderson's or Relish. It's Endo's thing. Some marketing man's done it, and it's been done in such a sort of subliminal way that everyone now believes that they've always said it. And we haven't. Think back to your memories. Think back to your mum and dad and your gran and your granny. Did we ever say Endo's? They didn't. I'll tell you now. Darts is a game, not a sport. I sort of see what you mean, Paul. But I'm trying to think of another game where half a millimetre can make difference between being a winner and a loser. Fish and chips better newspaper. I don't fucking price of fish and chips. I'll get me started on price of fish and chips. I mean, it used to be a cheap thing to get on your way home from boozing, innit? You need a mortgage now. And I can understand it with fishing stocks and sea wars and whatever they want to call it, in tariffs and this other. But spuds fucking gave over. The chip inflation's gone up as much as fish, and there's no excuse for that. Absolute bollocks. Bedtime for me up early. Multi show in Stafford tomorrow. Cheers, Jim. Night, Jez. Thanks for joining in. It's that bloody Mandela effect, Jim. Swear Cheese and Chris used to be in green bag. Yes, they did. That's another excellent point. Cheese and onion did used to be in green bag. Another swap that they just did. Don't even start me on opal fruits and starbursts. An absolute disgrace. Yorkshire puddings and mash and beef. Yeah. And roasties. Let's get the whole bag of mashings here. Steak every day and me buzzing. Do you know what, Tom? I do love a steak. It's rare I have one. But I do always really enjoy one when I do. I like that peppercorn sauce. But in fact, I enjoy that peppercorn sauce on my chips as much as my meat. Not my meat, the meat on my plate. Full English for me. Where do you stand on baked beans? Serious issues here. Serious issues. I'm not a fan, but I don't mind a few. And when I say a few, and I think this is where people think I might have got something, about 10. So, sausage, bacon, eggs, black pudding, fried bread, no hash browns, not even a debate. That can get in bin. That's ever sneaked in, I do not know. No place on a breakfast plate. Tomatoes, don't mind a cooked tomato, but I do like plum tomatoes. And baked beans, take them or leave them. But if I do have some now and again, I'm like, I'll say, do you want some beans? I'll say, I'll have about 5 or 6, yeah. And she thinks I'm taking mick, but that's just enough. You don't need to get mad. Actually, pizza, glorified cheese on toast. Speaking of cheese on toast, Welsh rarebit. First time I heard about that, I was expecting it, working down here, I was expecting it was going to be like rabbit or something. I'd got it in my head because of how it sounded. Oh, it's going to be some sort of meat platter. Oh, it's fucking posh cheese on toast. Thick onion gravy. Yes, lovely, lovely.
Paul Cook, a £5 donation. Great chat, Bike Sense, diabetes friendly. Thank you, Paul. Well, I'm enjoying this chat. Like I said, trying to avoid the football. No, that's great. I will treat myself to something. Not hair care products, obviously. So Matthews, can we talk about the disgrace that it's pies that come in a dish with only a small lid? It's the disappointment in it. That's what I was saying before. You often in boozers, big pie, you think smashing, you get forky and it all collapses in on its and there's hardly out in it. And then when you're in there, there's no sides, there's no side pastry. In fact, they shouldn't be able to call them a pie. They shouldn't be able to call them a pie. If it's just a lid, it should say that menu. Meat stew with a lid. Do you know what I mean? Pies need the base, they need the sides. These are the little things that matter. Did the Monopoly man on the box wear a monocle? Millions say yes, but apparently that's a Mandela effect. He just had a white tash, didn't he? I can't remember him having monocle. White tash? I might be inventing tash now. False memory syndrome, innit? Yeah. Bangs and mash, onion gravy. Good shout. As I said, mustard mash. You've got a big Coleman's English mustard, big teaspoonful, bang, get that in your mash. Just sets it off. Nicky Donovan and Phil Daniel sent me a bottle of Wendersons with Wendersons. Blue White Label, love them both. Phil Daniels, the Phil Daniels. Blur Phil Daniels. How do you know him? Tennis with no choke. Paul, what are you on about? How many of them Smiths have you had? Tennis with no choke. Scraps. Oh, I used to love chat. When we were a kid, we used to play football out all the time. And then we used to run down to Chippy for last knockings, and we'd either get it Chinese or we'd get it two steps. Old Irish fella had it then. I made it end at night. Oh, you're not shutting, are you? And we'd get in for cone. And he'd be like, all right, lads. Oh, we always got old scraps. Absolutely brilliant. Scraps. Price of away days is a joke. It is. It's especially a joke if you're coming from an away day at Hillsborough. But what's an even bigger joke than that? It's home days when you're at Hillsborough. Ticket prices there, absolute disgrace. And thanks for bringing football back up. Endos makes it sound familiar like a mate. Exactly. It's a con. It's a mind trick. And it won't work on me. Their Jedi mind tricks will not work on me. Henderson's Relish is actually getting a lot of traction in the USA. A lot of big vegan channels on YouTube featuring it. Just says Henderson, and so it should. Black pudding, love black pudding, love black pudding. Two of my mates still take the mick because we went to match. Oh, it's a few years ago now, but we don't cop. And I pulled some black pudding out of my pocket, battered black pudding that I'd got earlier from Chippy. Chippy up at Crooks, Admiral, battered black pudding, and a couple of battered black pudding with mushy peas on. The perfect snack. And like I said, get a couple, you can always keep a dry one in your pocket for later. Perfect snack to perk you back up, you know. I'm okay with the beans, except when they're stupid little pots. I know what you mean, Sharman, but I do love the name of them little pots. Ramekin. What a great word. I've got a cupboard full of them here. You get them with them. Oh, it's another pudding of actually, 3070s. Creme brulee. I love them, me. But that crispy sugar on top and then that warm, creamy custard. People take mickey out of them. I love them. Love them. the simple things in life. Old Trish was shut out now. But that's singing it, Boozers shutting. Get it? Boozers shutting. We used to come out at Boozer, straight to England, chicken chow mein, and I were off to bed. But sometimes we'd come out and we'd go other way, down to 2 steps, chips and gravy. That's another one, innit? Tray chips and gravy to eat on walk home. But Boozers shutting all of it. I think drinking culture's changed, hasn't it, with young uns? I mean, I've seen a couple of balmy things recently, actually, about drinking culture. It said something like, and it was really high, it was something like 75% of people under 24 don't drink alcohol at all. And I thought, well, they're a lot healthier than us, culture scene. And about 2 days later, there was a stat. There's never been as many under 24s in hospital with liver problems and needing liver and kidney transplants for overboozing. How does that make sense? It must be that 15% that do drink are doing enough for all the rest of them put together. But it was a sort of rite of passage going for your first sort of legal pint, weren't it? I'm not even sure it's probably a thing these days. Do you remember when you were young and you'd been going in boozed a bit in local and this and that, and that very first time landlord said, usual. Oh, fucking hell. About 17. Yeah, that's right, mate. Usual. Looking round. Fucking great days. Fucking great days. I have a few chippies peas now and again, midweek. 3 o'clock kick-off. 3 o'clock kick-off down to chip shop, close to my house. 10 of them. I know, the price of fish and chips is... But I've noticed a lot of that. The stuff that you used to get when you were a kid because it were cheap, affordable food, that's just become expensive because it's become a fucking thing, hasn't it? Do you remember Cockleman and all coming round Boozer with a little tray, with them little pots with wooden fork up, pick? Remember that, Cockleman? We are having a flashback here, aren't we? I detest mushrooms, says Steve, so they can get in the bin for me, same as cooked tomatoes. Don't mind raw tomatoes, but cooked makes me heave. I like cooked tomatoes that brings that sweetness out in them. I always chop them in half, get them in pan, give them half a minute, turn them over, sprinkling of salt, get that salt and that sweetness. I love a cooked tomato. Then what puts you off is like when you stay at a B&B and you get one of them massive tomatoes cut in half and they've just like burnt it on one side in pan. It's still hard and that can put you above. But little soft ones in half, pepper. And I'm not even big into cooking, but even little things like that. And I don't mind mushrooms. I hated them as a kid. I used to say to my mum, I can't eat them, they taste like slugs. And she went, well, how many slugs have you ever had? And I go, well, none, but I'm just assuming that they taste like them. I'm enjoying this. Except that time, since we substituted my black pudding for the fucking haggis, and I spent 5 minutes staring at the haggis. Haggis. An acquired taste. I'm vision staring at driver. I'm as bold as you, mate. I don't think you would. Yeah. I have got one of them skull shavers. And I will admit it's one of the only times ever that advertising's worked on me. Saw this advert, it was a little bald bloke walking about, and it was quite a clever advert, and I thought, do you know what, I'm going to get one of them. And it's good. But it's only good if it's short. If it gets more than a 2, you better get it big back out. But if it's, about a 1, I just give it a was once a week. It is the Phil Daniels that Sherman knows. He's Nicky's fella. She's a Sheffield, that's who I know well. Decent DJ and a proper laugh. Oh, damn. He was on Radio Sheffield. So has he moved up here, Phil Daniels, up to the capital of the north? The Mandela effect in future will get all mixed up with social media and fake news. you've only got to look at this week. You've only got to look at this week with everything going on with Wednesday. I mean, if you were to sit, I know you don't think about how much time you spend on it because you're on Twitter, you're on your reels or whatever they're called, and I ain't got TikTok, but I imagine that as well. And you're just flicking, trying to find, is there any good news? But if you add all that up, the time you spend and all the bollocks that you read, if you actually wrote that down on a pad, there'd be thousands and thousands of words, and half of it would be made up. Half of it will be complete bollocks, and that's why I refuse to entertain it, like I said, until I see it on back page at Star or on Radio Sheffield, because then I know it will have been properly confirmed by people who's had to dig into it and get several sources of confirmation. Have a look, it's a happy moon tonight. It's moon out tonight. I can't see it here. I know it sounds daft, I think it's too clear. It's been fucking hot today, hasn't it? It's been hot. I used to baste me 10 years, but I did olive oil, vinegar, lathered, hours on end. Oh man. Now, about 4 minutes, I'm like that, fuck this, get me in shade. I remember going to Popple Street Chippy as a kid, and he would give us a big bag of scraps for them. Small pleasures in life. Small pleasures. Like when you're a kid and you've been playing football, an ice pop. 5p, 2p, whatever it were. Simple pleasures. I mean, you'd sucked all flavour out of them after about 30 seconds. You just got a stick of ice, hadn't you? But the little pleasures. I brought up football again. The Scran chat was going well. Scran, that's another good word. May as well as watch WWE, TNA, or the AEW. What's the AEW? It sounds like something my doctors told me to avoid. A nice meaty pie, short crust, mushy peas, gravy, Anderson's relish. Yes. And I am a bit of a fucker. This is the secret things where I struggle with weight and diabetes and that, because when doctor said to me, do you have a lot of bread? I went, yeah, I love bread, I love sandwiches, it's one of my favorite things. And she was like, well, you know, there's secret sugars in carbohydrate. And I was like, what do you mean? I've already given up sugar at me, bro. She went, well, you know, there's secret sugar in carbohydrates, so this. But when I've had a pie, I like that. And I like to do washing up as a meditation. And all plates come in kitchen and they all go and watch telly. I'm straight in cupboard, loaf out, wiping plates with loaf, and all little bits of crust that's been left, and odd peas and a bit of gravy. And by the time I'm done, it's like a second meal. It probably explains why I'm in state I am. Do you know what I mean? We'll call action series Mandela effect in future. You can't have been real. It's been a shit show. It has. I got a few, not abuse, but I got a few messages after that last video I did, because I said there is that tiny part of me that feels a bit sorry for him, and there still is. Man's a knob, you know. Couldn't run a piss up in a brewery, and showed that he's got a vindictive side as well. However, I think he's genuinely coming with best of intentions. At the start, weighs 180 million. What do I need to do? And it is them advisors who's fucked him. They have had his pants down. And he's flailing about now and blaming every fucker but himself. But it's them who's had his pants down, and he's got to look at himself in the mirror, because he's allowed them to do that to him. Nobody else. He's allowed that to happen. Now, if you get some advice off somebody and it don't work, you know, if somebody at work says to me, Jim, horse can't fail, get 100 notes on it, and I go, cheers, pal, and it fails, I think, okay, now, right tip, that. If he then comes to me again and says, Jim, got an horse for you, worth a punt, I might think, well, I'll have 50 quid out, so I don't trust it. And if it fails again, I'm going to think, I'm not taking any horse racing tips off this wanker. And that's essentially what Chanseri's done. He's kept taking footballing tips that's cost him millions of pounds of people who you know, don't know what they're on about. Let's have a look. Went to Oasis last week for Preseason. These events now, the food, the drink, it's an absolute rip, innit? My mate's gone to, is it Manchester? He was saying you're not allowed to take in a bottle of water with dehydration, whether you're not allowed to take any of your own grub or out like that, spice or anything. And I remember my mate had gone to watch American football at Wembley, and this has got to be over 10 years ago. And he said, no, I've had fish and chips, it was a tenner just for me, for the mini one. And that was 10 years ago. Everything's extortionate now. Weddings, that's another one, isn't it? Weddings. Because you're trapped, aren't you? Captive audience. You're some hotel out in bloody stick somewhere. You're captive to them prices. It's all an absolute con. I was quite lucky. There were a big group of us about 10, 15 years ago, and it's, as you do, you get to a certain age when you feel like you're at weddings every month, doesn't it? But one of the lads used to fill his car boot with ale, so everybody would buy first drink and have a glass, and then it went out to Gaz's portable off license. But you've got to, because it's a con, innit? It's a real con. Paul Cook, I remember the Cockleman. I remember Dad had the same bloke come around every Friday and Saturday. They used to give him an half for free. They did. Cockleman, little white van had turned. Do you remember them? Them little vans that were like half a Ford Escort. Do you remember them? Little half Ford Escort van. I used to. It's a different world now, isn't it? And what gets me is like the passage of time's that quick. Because I said these things like to my kids or whatever, or even younger people who I work with. And they give me that, what are you on about, you? But it only seems like yesterday to me. And now I realise that they must be looking at me the same way I looked at my dad when he was like, oh yeah, it was 2 shillings and 1D or whatever. And I'm like, what even is that? And they look at me the same way. I don't know the other week about when you were ringing a bird and you didn't want everyone in the house stood around you while you were on the phone, because phone used to be all in the house, you know. And you used to sprint off to a phone box to ring a bird, you know. Yeah. Yes, Phil Daniels got a patent just outside Sheffield. He's Chelsea through and through, but open to get him along for a game. He's done right. I couldn't live down near me. I can't live down there. No. On the horizon, well, I can tell you now, KO, there's no horizon here. It's absolutely pitch out there. It's that clear, it's pitch. There's not a clouded sky. Pea pudding sandwich. I've had a pie sandwich before. I've stuck a steak pie in a bread cake. No danger. I'm very much about food on the move when I look back at it. All Elite Wrestling. I'll tell you a wrestling story. When I was about 11, we had family holiday to Bridlington. I think we went for 4 days. It pissed every day, and I mean pissed. Classic British holiday. I don't think young kids get that these days because it's hot all the time. We actually have heat waves now, you know, but that pissed. That was a proper pissing. So anyway, we went to Bridlington. And we ended up in the leisure centre all the time. But I'd seen poster, Big Daddy. Really excited. Dad, I need to see him. I've got to go and see Big Daddy. We'll see. This and other. He's on end up here. We've got to see him. And then Mum and Dad are like, yeah, we'll go and see Big Daddy. I'm like, fucking get in there, Big Daddy. So I watched him on World of Sport every week. I was absolutely buzzing. And the day after, there was a sign. It cancelled. I was like, why's it cancelled? Anyway, then it went back at paper. I think it was in Sun or whatever. The day before, he'd done his famous belly flop on Sunday. Fucking killed him. So I never got to see Big Daddy. I mean, obviously it's a tragedy for that poor bloke who lost his life, but At the time, I was more bothered about my sin. I was absolutely gutted. Absolutely gutted. Paul Farouk, a nice clear full moon where I am. Be careful at it. Have you all got a full moon and I ain't? It's. I can't see out at you. Jake, love a decent curry with some garlic naan and a cobra. Yeah. What I do like doing. I mean, me and Alice used to go for an Indian every week, you know, when we were younger, but obviously family and one thing and another, we don't now. But occasionally we'll get takeout. But I never have it delivered because I always like to drive down and get it because as soon as I walk in, oh, Jim, and there's a pint on bar. So I have a pint while I'm waiting, and it's the little victories in life. You've got to make most of them little moments, you know. Spice means something else now, Jim. Yes, I do work in town, and yes, a very different meaning. But there'll always be spice shops to me. Sherman, weddings and funerals all about making money these days. They are, aren't they? It's all a con. Me and some lads at work were talking with the week actually, and I went on about weddings, done what I just said earlier. You go through a spell, maybe late 30s, early 40s, it seemed to be me. So many weddings, calendar, full of them. Quite annoying because a lot of lads getting married during season, completely out of order, but there we go. But what was my wedding suit, I've now got to an age where my wedding suit's become my funeral suit. The last 5 times I've wore that suit's been a funeral, you know, and it's that passing of time again. Try not to bring it down. Jake, went to see Maiden. They took my water on a hot day, and it was at least £5 for water. The joke. It is. The gigs are appalling now. Appalling. GE, SWSC, I'm off now, Jim. Good night. Thanks for joining in, pal. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been nice to talk about something different from football, hasn't it, actually? Favourite Marvel films? I'm sure you're a bit of a fan. Probably not popular now. I did enjoy that original Sam Raimi Spider-Man. I think because there'd been a gap. Since we'd had anything. I really enjoyed that at the time. I know what's the fella, Willem Dafoe. I thought that was a terrific performance. I really enjoyed that first Spider-Man. Although I enjoy the young lad who does Spider-Man now. What did he call it? Tom Holland, innit? I enjoy him. I think he brings a nice take to it. The first Iron Man, really enjoyed that one. And I enjoyed, what that sort of second Captain America one? I think they've all been good. But I've started more recently always coming back to Thanos. And agreeing with him. I keep thinking, Thanos have got the right idea. I swear to God, make sure I never get one of them gauntlets, because I'll tell you, I'll be at it. Well, it also means peppers too. Spice, yeah. Spice to me, it'll always be like a quarter of a pear drops, you know. Pomfret cakes. Walks and cockles, used to have them coming round. Moon. They're just shouting random words at me now, Paul. My dad ate tripe and cowheel. Oh, God, I know. My old gaffer at work still eats tripe now. Loves it. Absolutely loves it. Wigan kebab, that pie and a bread cake. Is that what they call it? I've done that many a time. Fish cake butty. Nah, then, that's another good grub on the move. Fish cake butty, loads of vinegar and salt. Smashing. Oh, nah, then, Paul. This is the question. Michael prayed. For the simple fact, he is, and I'm willing to bet, always will be, the single greatest Robin Hood of all time. And that will always remain the greatest telling of Robin Hood of all time. Full stop. That will never be beaten. Never be beaten. Stellar cast, perfect casting all the way through. Robin, Little John, the Sheriff, Nicholas Grace, an absolute masterclass in sarcasm and the delivery of them one-liners. Unbelievable. Robert Addy, sadly no longer with us. Perfect guy, Gisborne, playing that sort of Bullingdon bully boy type. Brilliant. And then you add in all the sorcery and the mysticism. Absolutely fantastic. Robin of Sherwood is, always will be, the best Robin Hood ever. The end. No more discussion. The best. King Kong Kirk, we're all over the place tonight, aren't we? Was he the lad that Big Daddy squashed? I do feel bad for him, but like I said, at that time, I just felt bad for my son. I was desperate to see Big Daddy. See, we went to watch a wrestling show down when Big Daddy was there on commentary. Great stuff. My bro went up to him to ask for his autograph in a break, and he told him to fuck off. I probably shouldn't laugh. I do like stuff like that, though. It always tickles me. People were... See, these days, he'd have a... What do you call it? Media training and that, wouldn't he? And this is how you've got to deal with public and this sort of thing. I quite like a bit of that. Mick SWFC1, bring back the green. And I'm going to tell you this story. I've told you all before. I know I once went to get my dad a green one Saturday. I was about 18, 19. And I went missing. I came back on Monday in a right pickle. Looked like I'd been dressed by Vivienne Westwood, covered in crap. Walked in the house. Obviously, my mother worried sick, and my dad, where's my paper? Brilliant. Winter Soldier, says Paul. Is that second Captain America, the one I'm on about? Yeah, because I think that was that one I'm on about. And I agree. Yeah, Thanos was right. Completely. Hi, Jim. What do you do for work? Been sat watching it? I cannot tell you, Nick. I cannot tell you. I'd like to, but I'd have to kill you. I can't get into it. I'll tell you something now. I will tell you this. When I first started doing these, or before I started doing these, I used to do little 5-minute videos on Facebook for England matches, so that me and my mates had got a match day thread so we could all comment on the England game and so on. And I actually got called into my gaffer's office one day and got manila envelope, like a copper, and opened it up. Do you know what this is about? I went, no. Social media. I went, what about it? She went, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I went, yeah, I know what it is, but why am I here? Opened this folder and slid across a still screenshot of me doing a little address to Cameron about an England game. So I slid it across the desk and went, people know where you work. This could damage the reputation of an internationally renowned firm and this sort of that. And facing a disciplinary for it. Gospel truth, that. Yeah. So I tend not to mention where I work now. Where am I off on holiday? I'm off to Spain. Where I will attempt to speak the lingo because I always feel terrible guilt. I wish I could speak foreign languages. In fact, we were having a chat over there at dinner at work. What superpower would you have if you could have any superpower? So folks were saying, oh, invisibility. And I said, well, that sounds good, doesn't it? You know, in that schoolboy sense of, oh, I'll go in changing rooms and have a look at lasses. But I said, but then if you went in a room invisible and people were slagging you off, going, glad that wanker's fucked off, you'd be gutted, wouldn't you? But I think the invisibility superhero power would be, I don't think I'd fancy that. So we were chatting, flying. I think I'd be all right with that. If I'm scared of flying, as I said, it's other people being in control of plane I'm actually scared of. But my superpower, I would love to be able to understand every language I ever heard. So whenever I word, if I'm stood in a marketplace and there's Chinese people, Japanese people, and African people, and Spaniards and Italians, I'd love to be able to understand all of them and to be able to converse. But I would love to be able to speak every language in the world. That'd be my superpower. I would love it. It's embarrassing though, isn't it, when you go abroad and you can't speak, because they can all speak English, can't they? Everywhere you go, everyone speaks English. A guy I know this week said a pot noodle sandwich, and his mic drop moment, while we all frowned at him, was dunk it. I think you could make a pot noodle pot noodle sandwich, but it'd just be too wet. How's he getting it sandwich? It's not, I mean, it's the 90% water, aren't they? Or is he taking noodles out with a fork and putting them on sandwich and then dunking sandwich in juice? See, I'm frowning, but I'm probably going to try that. Yep, he was the poor casualty of Big Daddy. It's, yeah. Siegfried, get to bed. Siegfried, not Siegfried from All Creatures Great and Small. Get to bed. I can't get to bed. I am an insomniac. I mean, I will wind it up in the next 10 minutes because you lot probably need to go to bed. Steve, I think one or two in here have had a few too many sherbets tonight. I'm fully agreeing with that. I'm just looking through comments now and I'm looking at some of it is absolutely fucking random. These are great. Honestly, I have to say, these help me a lot. I do enjoy them. We're having a bit of a laugh here, aren't we? And you've got to. Have you seen the video when Jan Haystack slams the presenter with a slam right hard onto the floor? Video goal. I haven't. However, I can now tell you that when this stream is finished, that is the first thing I'm going to be looking for. What's your date of birth and security number on the back of your card? Very good. I've got family in Italy, don't understand a word. Would love that superpower. I'd love to be, you know. About the nearest I get is now and again when I'll see a footballer. For earlier, when I was playing Championship Manager 93, I started at Southend because you never start at Wednesday, that's cheating. And I thought I'd start at Southend, wait for Trevor Francis to get a sec. And I got a young Stan Collymore up front, which I'd forgot about him. And another one, Francisco Caggio. And I just found myself saying that for 10 minutes. Francisco Caggio. I like it. I wish I could speak it. But I struggle with English, to be honest with you. I was trying to take the time to learn a language of the place I'm going, even if it's just a week. And I'll. It doesn't stick up here. I'm not a languages person. I'm very visual. I never forget a face, for example, which can scare some people. In fact, there's a lass at our work, and that's the first time I saw her about a year ago. I went over and said hello. She'd got a slightly confused look, and I went, "You were in my class at school for about 3 months when we were about 6 before you moved school." She was like, "It does put people about, but I'm very good with faces. Names, shite. Faces, spot on." Paul, I always try to speak the language when I'm abroad. It's embarrassing. I think we are lazy. Aren't we? Yeah. Super Dugster off now. Cheers for the entertainment. Nice to have you along, Dugster. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Bit of something different to do on Saturday night, aren't he? Difficult being insomnia. On the bright side, only 3 sleeps till Christmas. That is a great fucking gag. You think I'm kidding? I'm writing that down. I'm having that bastard. I love that. That's great. Evening, just got in from DJing on Aberdeen Road. Where were that? Whereabouts were that? DJing, Aberdeen Road. Look, Les Kellett up as well, mate, says Paul. Is that another wrestler? Or is that somebody who has pot noodle butties? Pirate copies of the Rosetta Stone. KO, what have you been supping tonight? I am keen to know. Learn any language in an hour. I'd like to know what language some of you were speaking tonight. I always try and pronounce the names of people properly. Do you know what? I do, like that kid I'm on about earlier. Francisco Caggio. I like that. But you know what commentators do it on telly? I get lip on. Do you remember? Fucking cats knocking at the door. I'm not even kidding. Come on, Nick. Don't be mowing. Yes, pronunciations. When Didier Drogba turned up, he was Didier Drogba for about 2 years. And then suddenly one of them, can't remember who, got a feeling it might have been Motson. Drogba. Didier Drogba. And they all started at it. But by that stage, it annoyed me. I'm like, no, you've started with Drogba. Stick with Drogba. Roberto Baggio. Yeah. Did you see him a bit? I saw a picture over there. One of the lads were on a betting thing. Scalacci. Toto Scalacci. The receding airline hero of Italia 90. So a picture of him over there. I don't know what he's had done. He's had his barnet done for the start. He looks younger than he did then. He looks younger than he did then. It's 30 years ago. It's probably more. 25, 90. It is, unbelievable. Steve reminds me of an ex who was a Liverpool fan. She sent me in the club shop, tried speaking to him, and he looked at her blankly. She said he's ignorant. I said that's because he's Spanish. Fucking ignorant bastard. It always reminds me of that old joke, doesn't it? Barnsley bloke goes on holiday. Mrs. has took chip pan. Don't want to eat any foreign grub. Get to the hotel, doing chips and that, and she says, "Oh, I have cheeses. I haven't brought any gravy." He went, "You daft bint." He said, "Don't worry. There's an English fella next door. I'll go and borrow some gravy off him." So he goes next door and he knocks on the door. Bloke answers it. Barnsley fella says, "Has he got any bisto?" He went, "Fuck off, you Spanish twat." If Danny Stays gets full backing of new owners, is he our promotion manager? Justin, I can't see that working out. I cannot see that working out at all. I knew she'd want some grub. I don't think he'll stick around. I really don't think he'll stick around. I just can't see it. Cat Slater. I think you've been on more than ale. So our new owner could be a Trump donor. Like I said, no idea. Not even thinking about any of them three clowns. I'm just going to let them crack on with it. Still, yeah, probably still would be, yeah. Scalacci passed away last year. Oh, is that why my mate had got a picture of him on phone? I did wonder. I thought it was random that he got him on his phone. How old were he then? Because, like I said, this picture I saw, he looked younger when he were playing. Well, rest in peace to him. Yeah, just remember him in that World Cup. He's got them sort of crazy looking eyes, hasn't he? Yeah. Toto Scalacci. Jean Paul. Dem Scalacci. Don't get much more twists than that. I've got no idea what that means. No idea what that means. Oh, right. Now we're coming up 2 hours now, which, in fact, we're over 2 hours. And I've got to tell you, in terms of YouTube and this uploading, is an absolute nightmare. I shouldn't really do longer than an hour, but I've enjoyed it. It's been nice to have a chat about something different way to spend Saturday night. It's been quite fun, hasn't it? So anyway, I'm going to shoot off now. I'm going to feed Cat. Might make myself a quick sandwich before bed. I probably shouldn't do it this time of night, should I? But I will. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. And hopefully Wednesday gets something sorted out. 100% clear crystal, and we know exactly who it is this week. And maybe we can look forward to some positive news and video. Get down off there. Fucking nightmare, this cat. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you later. And now that very embarrassing little bit where I try and work out how to end this stream. Still can't do it. Don't know what